Welcome, everyone. New night, new everything here in YouTube land. I'm trying something out tonight. I'm trying out a different night. Welcome to Midweek Media. If Wednesdays work out for me and work out for each and every one of you guys, I will be doing this on Wednesdays here on Midweek Media. But before we begin here, I just want to say welcome everyone to the channel. Tonight, we're talking about the Resident Evil movie franchise right there. Right there. See? This is all 6 movies, and this is the new reboot. Welcome to Raccoon City. So that's what we're talking about tonight. I'm ranking these 7 movies. Usually I do a 10 movie ranking or whatever. This is the entire franchise, folks. So this is a franchise I really love. Like, I love these cheesy zombie movies. So yeah, I like them. They're very well. But before we get into that, let's see who's all here tonight in our chat. We have Hunter here tonight. Evening, everyone. Especially like when while you are here, it does really help the algorithm. Yes, it does. And while you're at the algorithm, you see that QR code right up there? Click that and scan that with your phone or your tablet, and that brings you to my channel. If you haven't subscribed yet, do that right there, and that will bring you to my channel. So, the next thing we are, Jagoda's here. Hey, Jagoda, how you doing tonight, man? Yo, he says. Nate's here. Greetings. Jagoda says, what's up, everyone? Hey, how you guys doing? Nate, how you doing tonight? Jagoda, how you doing? Hunter, how you guys doing tonight? Hunter saying, hey, Jagoda. He's going, hey, Nate. Horror movie Ben likes? Let me rephrase that. I do like horror movies. I just don't like the supernatural kind of horror movies. You know, like Exorcist, Omen, stuff like that. I can't get into that stuff. But these are zombie films. These are zombie films, and I kind of like those. I also like the classic comedies, the classic Universal monster films. I love those. I love those black and white movies from yesteryear that no one really talks about in the realm of horror. So that's what I like. Since this is horror month, this is October. We're almost at the end. I decided I would do one video this week of movies that I like that are horror, and this is a couple of them. So if you guys haven't checked it out, there is a poll in the YouTube description. I wish I could bring it up here, but somehow I can't. Let me know. Have you ever seen this entire franchise? Let me know in that poll if you guys have. As of right now, I'm looking at 67% of you guys say no, 33% say yes. I'm in that 33% that says yes, so it's actually a little bit of a closer thing. It's only 3 votes, guys. So if I did 4, it would be a 50-50, folks. So let's talk about this franchise, shall we? This franchise, believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, are is actually not are is the one of the highest grossing, was at one point in time not only the highest grossing film series based off of a video game, but also the highest grossing horror film series. Period. Yes. All right. I mean, up until a point that's been true. Consisting of 6 movies and then reboot, Resident Evil just keeps making money while they're basically bashed by critics. Most of those critics arguably have valid points, but the arrival of Raccoon City simply became an oddity confronting somewhere along the way. So, here we go. I think I missed 2 movies in the franchise. Okay. I mean, that's not bad if you only missed 2 out of 7. Thanks to the creative voices of event writer director Paul W.S. Anderson and his Fifth Element actress wife, Mila Djokovic. That's right. 6 of the 7 Resident Evil movies feature the character of Alice, who she plays, firing on all cylinders as a former security specialist and covert operative who initially has amnesia, but essentially remembers she's out to take down the insidious Umbrella Corporation, a global company responsible for Earth's weirdest zombie apocalypse. As the franchise entries roll on, we get plenty of the recognizable characters from this franchise, folks. We get people like Claire Renfield, Leon S. Kennedy, of course, Albert Wesker himself. I mean, when this came out in 2021, this had the box office wasn't great. Why? Because it didn't have Mila. And honestly, to me, she made these films. She made these films. So without further ado, folks, let's get into our number 7. So our bottom of the list. But before we do that, Jerry, what's up? Hey Jerry, have you seen all these movies? Comment in the poll if you have, Jerry. Yes or no? And Jerry, I know you're a big video game guy. Have you played all these games? Have you played them all, Jerry? So, Jerry saying hi to Hunter. Hunter saying hey to Jerry. Hunter saying, I've seen the first and Raccoon City. Okay. So you saw the original and Raccoon City. Okay. Okay. Jerry, I need a Hunter. Jaco, sorry. The last Resident Evil movie was the worst for me. Yeah, this one. I can see that, Jaco. I can see that. Jerry, good church review. I watched it. Yes, thanks, Jerry. For those of you that don't know, I have a second channel with my name on it, Graydon, where I talk the world of church production and church tech because that's what I do outside of this movie YouTube space. So that's what I do. So let's get into number 7. Our first one here happens to be Resident Evil Extinction. Extinction is where the Resident Evil movie series began fostering the idea that they could get away with basically anything as long as it's explained to the audience. That there was a seemingly endless production line of Alice's, and this third movie shows us the whole pile of her deceased clones riding in a desert straight away. Oh boy. You see, this is the part I didn't like, is that Jagoda. So you guys see, that's the thing I just didn't really care for that. Just because then she's not, then her waking up with amnesia, then every adventure she's been on for the first 2 movies into this one, just was like, there's just still more of her. Okay. To me, it just took a little bit more away from her story in that aspect. So, these poor souls are victims of Umbrella's continuing Project Alice, headed by Dr. Alexander Isaac and Albert Wesker himself. Oh boy. So, I mean, this movie sticks into Romero territory by pitching out its main story amongst the convoy of survivors traveling through the desert, including Ali Larder, who's wasted here as Claire Redfield. She's actually a pretty decent actress, but not in this role. Nope. uh, and fellow Raccoon City survivor Carlos Oliveira. I'm sorry, I just wrote the names on here on my notes. Russell Mulcahy's 2007 threequel, thus this one, is filled with zombie movie cliches and desert chatter tedium, but it doesn't have a murderous flock of infected crows, so it's not all bad news. It's a zombie needs only one thing: the living. All bets are off. So you see, guys, the zombie needs a living, and when we figure out that they may not actually be living, who needs these zombies anymore? So that's the thing. So our next one we're getting to, sorry, is Apocalypse. There we go. And if you guys notice, I put up the movie posters for you guys as we talk about this. Alexander Witt's sequel to the first Resident Evil movie has a direct-to-video quality about it, which makes it endearing. Arriving hot off the heels on the first film, Apocalypse expands on the initial story, taking Alice's fight from the Hive to the Raccoon City. There, she finds allies in the likes of Jill Valentine, Sienna Gilroy in a ridiculous outfit from the game. So those are some of those ones. What's up, Ben? I'm doing well, D-Ray. How are you doing tonight, man? I'm doing good. How are you? And thanks for coming by. D-Ray, if you haven't checked out the poll, check it out. Have you seen all these movies? At the end, I'm going to tell you guys how many of you guys have voted on that poll and seen who's seen this entire franchise, besides yours truly. That is. Okay. We get Oliveira, played by Oded Fear. Phenomenal. He's such a good actor, very underrated, and has to battle a new enemy in the monster juggernaut Nemesis. I love how this one kind of took stuff from the game and made it realistic in this world. As far as realistic in a zombie apocalypse by the by the Umbrella Corporation can do, then that's crazy. It's a very stupid movie full of action padding that doesn't exactly make sense for the franchise to continue. So it was a miracle that it put a decent box office despite bad reviews. That it did. So you see, they were expecting this just to be a two-part movie, 1 and 2, said and done. That also explains why in 3 we see the clones of of Alice. Sorry, the clones of Alice. Why we see that in the beginning of 3, because they weren't expecting it to be more than 2 movies. Because they're like, oh, this wouldn't. And even with the 2 movies, it became the most successful franchise based off of a video game because it had 2 movies. Most everything from there wouldn't last past 2 films themselves. Primarily, it all comes down to Mila's. Yeah, I'm just gonna say Mila. I can't pronounce her last name. Constant energy as Alice. Anytime she's on screen kicking someone's butt, the movie improves it by 2,000%. With the moments lingering in the moment as the credits roll, it's easy to find yourself saying, yeah, I could probably watch another one of these if I'm bored enough. And that's music to Hollywood's ears, baby. So you guys see? So you guys see that did too. And then we get kind of 3, 4, 5, 6 in this whole storyline here. So we'll go back. So right now in our next one, we'll go back to. Here we go. We get Resident Evil, the final chapter. This is our next one. So, Paul W.S. Anderson and Djokovic, Resident Evil franchise spurred to a close with 2016's final chapter. Cause it's a final countdown. Da-da-da-da. Da-da-da-da-da. Da-da-da-da. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Cause it's the final countdown. I'm sorry you guys had to listen to my singing. It just popped in my head and I had to do it. But anyways, and we can accept that this was a grand finale. Wasn't all we'd hoped for it to be. Well, admittedly, that was definitely wasn't the worst thing that happened that year. 2016, I don't know about you guys, but there were some big stinkers in the theaters that year. And the final chapter takes us back to the beginning. So the final chapter, here it is, right here. Ready? See, final chapter takes us all the way back to the beginning, right here, right here. So takes us all the way back for the T virus's invention, and the spread are fully laid bare for the few people who were in this for actual answers. Alex and her friends, having been inevitably betrayed by Wesker, are now in his endgame. It's the last stand of their apocalypse. The last chance to unleash an antivirus that could save the world from zombification. Yes, that's the MacGuffin, folks. Let's save the world from zombization by releasing another virus. So it seems that with the Red Queen back at the Hive to get it done. Down there, we find out that Alex was originally cloned from Alicia Marcus, daughter of the creator of the T-Virus, and Djokovic plays that character in some rather unconvincing aging makeup. Yeah, they could have done a little better on that. If you guys are going practical effects, go a little bit better with the practical effects in that aspect. All this lore gets in the way of the action. It is clear the franchise has run out of steam and is straining for an emotional conclusion, but sadly it doesn't quite manage to achieve one in the final chapter. So you see there, we're trying to hope here you guys have enjoyed the series. Let's go to it. Let's get you guys this big oomph, this last big hurrah. It just doesn't happen in this film. So that's number 5. So, I mean, these last ones were kind of bad, if you ask me. These ones are kind of bad, if you ask me. So we're getting to some of the better ones right now. So our next one. Welcome to Raccoon City. That's right, folks. Resident Evil, Welcome to Raccoon City. The main issue with Raccoon City is that it loves the first 2 Resident Evil video games a little bit too much. The reboot strives to honor them where it can, aiming to set itself apart from the nonsense of the other movies and tell the unsettling story of the games. Which, in some ways, could have worked, and we saw here that it didn't work. It could have worked. The story of the video games are amazing. I just don't know if it was, at least for movie release, maybe on something like a streaming platform, it could be better on. Maybe as a TV series, it could be better. And that would be on like Netflix or something like that. That would be good there. So the result is that that despite having more coherent vision with a much more darker tone than the films that came before it, Welcome to Raccoon City is kind of, dull. It turns out there was a load-bearing Paul W.S. Anderson missing the action and nonsense of the Alice Focus movies. The creepy zombies of Raccoon City are simply nothing we haven't seen before. The Easter eggs and fan service may win over hardcore Resident Evil players, but for those who have already seen the franchise be taken in wilder directions, this reboot was a little bit underwhelming. It was underwhelming, but yet, in my opinion, like the ones I had before this, like I had Extinction, Apocalypse, and Final Chapter. Those ones just seemed to be a big letdown in the storyline. But this one was middle of the road for me. I enjoyed it, but it's not one of those things that I'm going to enjoy it again. Meaning, I haven't played all the video games, so I don't know how the last 2 storylines go, but I haven't played them. Those are me, though, but the next one, Resident Evil Afterlife. That's right. Resident Evil Afterlife starts with the what tantamounts as a music video. Tom and Andy's score pumps out and beats as we see rain fall slowly on Tokyo and a young woman turns into a zombie, attacking a passerby. This is how Japan felt to the T-Virus. And if you guys notice, it's in real 3D when it came out, and IMAX 3D. So there's a gimmick in this movie. Yay! The gimmick doesn't play well. It's in there, and you could tell they tried to do it in 3D, but some ways it failed. Like the way the it the split the split between the characters in the background worked as 3D, but nothing else made it 3D in that aspect. Hey, Cal. Only one I haven't seen is Raccoon City. The other 30, after 30 minutes, I can watch it no more. It does have that. It might be Robbie Amell. No one likes Robbie Amell. I mean, seriously. Like, I mean, in this one, you have Robbie Amell, Neil McDonough, and Donald Logue. Maybe it's Donald Logue and Robbie Amell that no one can stand. So, so Mila Djokovic is a bomb.com. Love her in all these. Yeah, she was good. She was even good in Monster Hunter. If you guys haven't checked that one out, check that one out too. Jerry's going, hey, Cal. Hello, seeing Raccoon City. Maybe don't want to watch the others. Oh, Hunter, I say go back and watch them. Watch them in order. One, 1 to 6. Don't watch Raccoon City. But, hey, Cal, you failed this city if you don't like like it about. Okay. In present day, an insanely overpowered Alice and her clones take down an Umbrella HQ in Tokyo. But pesky Wesker gets away, and writer-director Paul Anderson makes Umbrella's most ridiculous villain do the smartest thing he can for the franchise: remove Alice's superhuman abilities. From their afterlife has some of the highest stakes in the series, as Alice can simply just die. Resident 1 and 2 are fire. Yeah. Yeah. 2 is my fave. Yeah. Okay. I can see that, Cal. But here's the thing. You ready? They just made her able to die by taking away her superhuman abilities. That gives you something in this movie. This is why I ranked it number 3. Because right here, we have a human version of Alice. Someone who doesn't have superhuman powers. Who's just can simply die if she's not careful. Who can simply succumb to the T virus if she's not careful too. Allison and Claire Redfield travel to Los Angeles in pursuit of the safe haven Arcadia and must escape a prison with Claire's brother Chris, played by Wentworth Miller. He's phenomenal as an actor, hands down. By the time the crew get to the Arcadia, they have their inevitable slow motion battle with Wesker. The movie is only concerned with having as much fun as it physically can while eschewing the laws of physics completely. This is where the 3D comes in because you wanted to have it be fancy. Cal saying hey to everyone and saying hey to Jerry. You wanted it to be fancy with everyone, but yet you still wanted that 3D motions in there. So that's where this kind of falls into play with me. It kind of feels like it was an after done. So Wesker parachuting away for a final CG explosion takes the cake in Afterlife. But his laughable Mr. Smith sequence aboard the Arcadia should get an honorable mention. Yeah. Yeah. His laughable Mr. Smith sequence, yeah. Yeah, if you guys have seen The Matrix, you know what I'm talking about. If you've seen this one, here's what I talk about. I don't have to explain that to you. Right before we get into our top 2, let's see how our poll's doing. Our poll is doing, we have 6 votes in, and we're tied 50-50. So half of you haven't seen this franchise, half of you have. That's awesome. That's perfectly awesome. So I appreciate you guys helping out with the poll. Thank you very much. Number 2. The next one is number 2. Hold on. I hit the button. It's not working. There we go. Number 2, Retribution. 2012's Retribution was the 5th installment of the Resident Evil film series. And by this point, the franchise has gotten so ludicrous and over the top. What does this sound like to you? Fast and Furious. Fast and Furious. Fast and Furious. Yes. Sounds like the Fast and Furious franchise to me. 2. That it wanted to tell, that it had room to vary the stories that I wanted to tell. As long as they were hung loosely around the preposterous action, gunplay, and combat. This one has a killer sequence near the beginning that's reminiscent of Zack Snyder's best movie, Dawn of the Dead. A clone Alex wakes up as a happily married suburban mom in a twisted umbrella simulation that peppers in clones of the first movie's cast, including Colin Salmon. as strike team leader James One Shade. I mean, guess what? Michelle Rodriguez is also back twice as both the good and evil clones of Rain Ocampo. The film throws in first appearances by Resi game characters Leon S. Kennedy, Ada Wong, and Barry Byrne as story sprawls from the Umbrella Corporation freighter to an underwater facility to Moscow and beyond. Very little about any of this makes sense, but the pace of the film is so quick it's impossible to care. This movie actually plays on that action subtype very well. It's just a lot of action sequences that you don't really care about how the story is progressing. Sometimes in an action movie you want that story, but this one is so heavy in action you just want it to boom, 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 just go. And that's what it does. It just goes, and it goes very well. Now we're going for number one. You could probably have figured it out, but it is the very first one. The very first one. So it's Resident Evil. Give me 1 second. It's Resident Evil. No clickbait in the headline here. We all know the first Resident Evil movie is the best one. But it's a good movie. Yes and no. Is it a good movie? Yes and no. It certainly hasn't aged particularly well in terms of its style or effects. Created a post-Matrix era where everyone and their mom was trying to blend slow-motion gun fu and CGI. 2002's Resident Evil still manages to be a joyful romp by only embracing the skeleton of the Resident Evil story and just building a regular action movie around it. It's determined to do its own thing, and Paul Anderson's choppy, if competent direction works great with the film's upbeat video game energy. It's easy to see why he was brought back later on to give the franchise another jolt. Yeah, you guys see, he knew it being choppy. That's how the video games are. You go from cutscene, you play, cutscene, play, cutscene, play. It's kind of choppy. Like now it's more fluid and everything. But back then it was just choppy. Just choppy, choppy, choppy. But honestly, the first Resident Evil probably wouldn't have run quite as smoothly without the star power of Mila Djokovic at the top of her game as Alice, and Michelle Rodriguez bringing the heat as Umbrella's Special Forces operative Reina Campo. Together, the two have more on-screen chemistry than anyone else in this franchise, making making Resident Evil extremely entertaining and watchable package that stands the test of time. If you love horror movies, love horror movies. I messed up my notes, guys. This is the good thing about live video. Chopper City. The stands the test of time if you have the love of action horror nonsense in your blood and forgiveness in your heart. That if you love an action horror nonsense that this movie brings, and you could get away from it being choppy and it probably not being a success if it wasn't for how popular the game was at the same time. Because it's not like they made the game was popular, then the movie was made. No, it was the game was popular, then the movie was made, like almost right away. So it's like, oh, okay. So it had that thing. It was like it was still fresh in people's minds and everything. It was still fresh in people's minds. And I hope you guys enjoyed my list of my rankings of the Resident Evil franchise, folks. Yes, it's the movie franchise. I could have done the games, but like I said, I couldn't have done a true one for that. I don't think I could have done it since because I haven't played the last two. So that's me like ranking this franchise without seeing all of them. I've seen them all and everything. What does Cal say now? Cal, I don't think this as nonsensical as people make it out as a video game movie. This is a classic. Props to the franchise. Mila is a badass. Yes, it's nonsensical, but Cal, it's based off a nonsensical video game. So the video game's already crazy. So this being nonsensical, I see your point. If this being nonsensical really does help the franchise out. It does, Cal, and I appreciate that. Appreciate you doing that. I appreciate everyone who's watched, and I appreciate everyone who commented in the chat and who took our poll. Our poll at 6 votes is 50-50. It's 50-50, folks. thanks for showing up because I would say yes. So that puts us a little over the top there, folks. A little over the top. I just appreciate all of you guys. I just appreciate all of you and everything. Cal says, yeah, he feels like he captured it well. Yes, sir. And so I'm thankful for you guys. Guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this Wednesday. Let me know in the comment section. Let me know in the comment section if you guys want to see me continue these on Wednesdays, or you guys want me to go back to my Tuesday nights. Because I was just trying something different tonight to see if this worked out not only in my schedule, but in your guys' schedules as well to watch this. So without further ado, if you appreciate us, let the beard speak. I'm a fan of the video games. That's a good one. Have a great night, everyone. And that's right, Hunter. Hey, Hunter, have a great night. And you guys do too. I'll see you guys here next time.